So there's been some movement tonight. I got this today in the mail. Um, the standings aren't 100% accurate, but it's kind of a fun little board to have. So I'm gonna have some fun with this in the coming weeks and probably months. And the nice thing is, blink, it actually will sit right on my desk. So I have standings right here. Now, some guys will have a picture of their girlfriend on the desk, or maybe some kind of an inspirational picture from their past, or some kind of, inspirational phrase. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Me, hockey stats, standings, little pucks, magnets. I've even decided that these stickers, which I still haven't decided on a use for, I'm using them basically as like flashcards for my videos, but because stickers tend to either curl and fall off, or just in general end up being kind of garbage, and I'd rather not. I want to do something with them. It's magnet time, so we're going to be hitting hobby shops, and when that big whiteboard arrives, it's going to be magnet time. But let's get to tonight's action. So the Islanders get a shutout win in Montreal. The Toronto Maple Leafs losing in a shootout to the Rangers. Very good game. And anybody who's been talking smack about Freddie Anderson can look at tonight's game and go, maybe he's not a bad goalie. He's a pretty damn good goalie. He's just overworked. And hopefully, with McElhinney spelling him a little more regularly over the next few weeks, hopefully his game becomes a little more consistent. So with that loss, and the point that came with it, and I'm not going to call it a loser point, because they honestly, tonight, that was an example of a very, very good game. And the Rangers were full value for the win. What it's done to the standings, though, is Toronto now is third place. They've moved ahead of my Bruins are going to blow it in LA tonight. I've just got a feeling. The Bruins right now are on the outside looking in. This is what I was worried about. And Montreal, with their loss at home tonight, don't look now, but Ottawa's 2 points back with 3 games in hand. So suddenly, there's a very real possibility the Ottawa Senators could win that division. The Capitals are still first in their division. Pittsburgh's first, or Pittsburgh's second. The Rangers now take over third, so they've officially passed Columbus. Columbus has 2 games in hand, but the Rangers are playing some really, really good hockey right now, and the Columbus Blue Jackets have been a little iffy. I think they still probably finish ahead of the Rangers, but I'm not as sure as I was, say, 2 weeks ago. The Islanders are the big news right now. They catapult themselves into a playoff spot with tonight's win. It's true. Florida has a game in hand. They're 2 points back, but the Islanders have more regulation and overtime wins than Florida, so that's your first tiebreaker. So the Islanders right now would open the playoffs against the Washington Capitals. And if you're a Capitals fan, you got to be like, oh. Actually, if you're a Capitals fan and you're around my age, your reaction is, oh. Some of the biggest disappointments for Washington, and especially 1987, can be tied back to the New York Islanders. So if Washington has to go through the Islanders in the first round, and then in the second round, either Pittsburgh or New York, my prediction of Washington winning the Cup looks in peril. But Florida could still grab that spot, certainly. It's amazing how New York's turned it around since Doug Weight took over, and Doug Weight gets full credit for that. They're full value for being in the playoffs right now. They've looked fantastic. And it leaves Philly 5 points back. Philly is in a position now where they've got to consider selling. Buffalo is now 6 points out of the playoffs. Tampa's 6 points out. Tampa's been doing well in terms of getting points in 7 of their last 8, but that 8th was tonight's game where they lost at home to Calgary. Yeah, there's no room for error for Tampa right now. Jersey's 8 points back. Detroit's 10 back now. And Carolina's 12 back. So you're getting into that. The standings are starting to pull apart, and certain teams are starting to fall out. Of course, out west, you've got Minnesota is 5 points ahead of Chicago. Chicago is 12 points ahead of St. Louis. But that division's not wrapped up yet. Chicago wants to have something to say about that. And for regulation overtime wins, Minnesota has 36, Chicago has 35. Chicago's played one more game. There's not a lot to choose between those two teams. And if they meet in the second round this year, it is going to be a barn burner. I'm going to want to watch every single game. San Jose still leads their division, but look out for Edmonton. And I really didn't picture that happening. But also on the lookout for Anaheim. Anaheim is just going to lurk around, and it's not like any of these teams are setting the world on fire. San Jose's only lost one in regulation out of their last 10, but they've lost 5 in overtime or a shootout. So they're 4-1-5 in the last 10. They're having trouble closing out games. Edmonton's 5-5. Anaheim's 4-5-1. Nashville's 5-4-1 with their 67 points. They've now tied St. Louis, but St. Louis has 3 more regulation and overtime wins than Nashville. Calgary, 66 points. They pull within 8 of Anaheim and Edmonton. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10, so you can't say mathematically they're out of it. But the idea of them possibly being a third-place team in that division is pretty hard to see right now because Calgary has a lot of ground to make up and not a lot of time to do it. LA, when they beat Boston tonight, and they will, they'll have 64 points, but they'll still be 2 points out of the playoffs. Winnipeg is now 4 points out, and the teams ahead of them still have games in hand. Vancouver is now 8 points out of the playoffs. Can we please sell some players in Vancouver? Dallas is 10 points out and is embarrassing. Arizona, with recent wins, have pulled themselves within 7 points of Dallas. I'm actually, honestly, kind of hoping Dallas just pulls the plug from here and falls as far down as possible. I know they can't get down to Colorado level, but man, if Dallas could win the draft lottery, and I don't know, maybe Nolan Patrick is great, maybe he's not, maybe he's underrated, maybe he's overrated, but getting a number 1 draft pick into a Dallas jersey might be a saving grace of this season. There hasn't been a lot to cheer about. Arizona's been very good. Again, and this is something that I've noticed with the Coyotes. They do tend to win games that aren't as important because they've already basically mathematically been eliminated from the playoffs, so they like to play spoiler. I'm sure Coyotes fans would like to see them play more in spoiler and actually make the playoffs. That doesn't happen this year, and I had predicted it would happen this year. I was dead wrong on that one. I said Edmonton would be better. I didn't have them in the playoffs this year. I was dead wrong on that one too. And I said Toronto would be better. I didn't have them in the playoffs either. Next year when I do my predictions, I got to just go for it. I just got to go for what I feel and say, you know what? This team that was down and out, they made all the right moves in the offseason. They're in the playoffs this year. Because if I can be right, I'll be really wrong somewhere else. Let's be honest. There's 30 teams. I'm going to be right with a few, and I'm going to be wrong with a few. And wrong is Colorado. They've allowed 80 more goals than they've scored. I don't know where to start. And yet Matt Duchene has won 62% of his faceoffs. Okay, they had that stat up. Matt Duchene is the best faceoff man in the NHL. The fact that Colorado has a guy taking a large number of their faceoffs and he wins them, and they're still allowing 80 more goals than they score, says a lot about their inability to control the play and control the puck, even after winning faceoffs. Even though they start out with the possession, they manage to blow it in every way possible. So I would think Colorado will be looking for a new coach in the offseason again. I'd be very surprised if a coach survives a season like this. I've seen many miserable seasons, and very rarely does a coach survive it. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing your way through. And remember, as I said when this channel first started, when money comes in from the channel, I will spend it on items for the channel. This was 20 bucks. I honestly don't mind it, and I know, you know, the pucks are small, and I noticed on the Amazon listing, like, oh, they're small. And I could get a bigger version of this, probably for cheaper locally. But what do I need a bigger one for? Just gets unwieldy. Besides, I've got the 2x3, 2 foot by 3 foot whiteboard coming. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. I'm going to start drawing stuff up. And then that way, when I describe things to you guys, I'll draw it up on a board so you guys can tell me where I'm wrong on the board too. So for you guys who like to find what I'm doing wrong, you'll have so much more to criticize. It's going to be great. Let me know what you guys think about the standings. As I said, it looks to me like there's more sellers. One last thing. So who's selling? This is the big thing. It's trade deadline. Who's selling? The following teams should be selling: Philadelphia, Buffalo, Tampa, New Jersey, Detroit, Carolina, Vancouver, Dallas, Arizona, Colorado, and if they struggle, fall further out of the race between now and the deadline, Winnipeg. And if Winnipeg can sell a couple of assets at the deadline, I think they'd be really smart to do it, regardless of how far out of the playoffs they are. So we'll see what happens, but that's the number. That's a lot of teams that should be selling. Are they going to be? And what happens is if all those teams are selling, your asking price for all these guys, for like Duchesne and all these crazy asking prices, they drop. So you're more likely to see an active trade deadline if there's more teams selling. You're more likely to see big names move. So we got to hope the standings pull apart some more and more teams fall out and go, we got to recoup something before this expansion draft. That is the key thing. So thanks for watching. And like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And I will talk to you all again tomorrow.